This is Andy
hmm
Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Shakan over Zoom. Shakan, first and foremost, how are you doing?
All good, man. How about yourself?
I'm all good as well, mate. Obviously, good to hear you're doing well yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're coming towards well, I say coming towards the end of lockdown. We're seeing lockdown eased, but how have you found these past few months?
Yeah, I mean, it's been tough. Like for anyone, it's been tough. We've never had nothing like this before, where you've got to all of a sudden adjust your days. 'Cause, I'm normally I'm an outgoing kind of person anyway. I'm always on the move, busy doing things. So to adjust to life of getting familiar with Netflix and doing other things and other training regimes. It's been a bit tough, challenging, but I think I've coped to it the best I can. I've carried on doing my training. I've carried on stuff like that. So all I've generally done is just take the benefits, the good out of it, which has brought me a lot more time to spend with the family and so on. So yeah, like I'm in the same, but I've been in the same boat as everyone else. It's been a bit frustrated.
What's it been like training wise? What had you been doing until gyms just started to open back up? What had you been doing on your own to try and keep yourself active?
Yeah, just a lot of runs and so on. I mean, I've been fortunate. I got a boxing bag sent to me as well, so I was able to be hitting the bag as well. But it's the only thing really what I've been missing is like the buzz of the boxing gym. Being around the boys, the buzz in the gym and so on. So that's all it really was for me. Apart from that, I had been doing my training and so on. Obviously, there's certain other things in my training which I like to incorporate, which I wasn't being able to do, obviously, with leisure centres closed and so on. But it's all good. I've coped with it well. I've coped with it well, for sure.
Obviously, as we mentioned, the gyms are just starting to be back open now, and some fighters are getting back in. What's kind of been the protocol that you guys have put in place? Have you been going back to the gym now?
Yeah, I mean, we've been going back. Obviously, there's limited amount of numbers of who's even in there. But for me personally, speaking of myself, I've been in the gym, and yeah, I just love being back. You know what I mean? I love the grind of getting back in the gym and training hard, pushing myself. So that's what I do. That's what I love. So yeah, it's been good to be back.
Now, before lockdown was put into place, you was one of the very unfortunate people who was meant to fight. I think it was either on the week of lockdown being announced or the week before your show being cancelled. That lockdown was announced. Take me back to that when, because I remember speaking to you and you was kind of optimistic that the fight would still go ahead at the time. Talk to me about the experience of finding out that the show had been postponed and your chance to fight for the vacant British title has once again been postponed as well.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we was obviously when it was just creeping out, this whole pandemic and things, like I noticed like a few shows. Obviously, sports was like football was the first probably to be really effective. The massive crowds it gathers, and obviously boxing was also affected. But I noticed like the prem was put on hold a bit, and different and iron about that. And then of course like a few shows, MTK shows and Eddie Hearn shows, they got cancelled. And one of my gym teammates, actually Casey Benjamin, fought on the last MGK, I believe, where he won. But it's like we've seen that show get cancelled, and that show was like about a week and probably about 2 weeks before ours or so. So of course, I'm hoping at this point that we could squeeze through, because I've had a solid camp. We had a really tough camp. Training for this, preparation was going well, and then like literally in the week of just tapering, just making the weight, that's when they decided to pull the plug. And of course, it was frustrating because I've already been for a full camp, and camps do cost money and time and sacrifices. So I've been through a whole camp. So it then like I said, they pulled the plug on our one a week before, so it was more frustrating for myself, and I'm sure it would have been frustrating for Chad as well, and a lot of the fans were looking forward to it. But I went through a hard camp anyway, and to have it just pulled on like with like probably a week or so to go was a bit frustrating. But again, like I said, that's life. There's a bigger issue out there, and people have been affected in many ways. Even some people in the boxing community, have lost obviously family in it. So like obviously I sympathise for those fighters and everyone else around the world who's been affected by it, by losing family members. So obviously a boxing show can always get rearranged, but life. You can't change that. So
You mentioned obviously a boxing show can be rearranged. You was due to face Chad Sugden. Originally, you was going to face Craig Richards before he pulled out with a viral infection, I believe it was. Do you know exactly where that entire situation stands? Would you still face Chad Sugden when boxing shows return? Will you be facing Craig Richards? Do you know what the situation is there?
to me, honestly, it doesn't matter who I've got, but I believe it's Chad Sugden. If I hear any different, it doesn't matter. I'm going to prepare hard as I do anyway, and just aim to get the win, which I will do, whether it's Craig or whether it's Chad Sugden.
How do you expect the bout between yourself and Chad to play out? Chad obviously got a really good draw with Craig Richards in just before Christmas time. What are you expecting from Chad if your fight does still go ahead on lockdown?
He's a young, hungry kid. Obviously, he's going to want to take his opportunity, just like I want to take this opportunity. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm taking this 100% serious. This fight is a life-changing fight for myself, and I'm sure it is for himself as well. But I'm not really focused on anything what Chad may feel, what Craig may feel, or what any other boxer might feel. I just know how much this means to me, and I know the preparation I've got to prepare to do and what I'm going to do. So I'm going to come at my best, no doubt about it. I'm sure he's going to try and come at his best as well. But there's only going to be one winner, and that's definitely me.
Obviously, the show was picked up by Hennessy Sports, Mick Hennessy. Do you have any knowledge as to when or if we will see that in the near future?
I've been told August, maybe possibly mid-August, end August. I'm not sure. But for me, as I say, I've just been doing what I can do and ticking over and so on. I live the life. I don't just sway off or think, oh yeah, we'll wait for a date. I'm always going to keep ticking over and doing things what I have to do anyway. So that's what I've been doing. Whenever the date's going to be, whether it's mid-August or whenever it might be, I know I'll come in at my best with no excuses. I'll come in at my best. I'll show up. I'll turn up and get the win.
What's your knowledge with regard to, say, the venue? Will it still be held in the same place in Coventry it was previously arranged, or would they look to maybe just put in a smaller venue because you can't have fans there regardless?
I'm not, honestly, what into the venue is probably the same as me. I don't know what's going on with the venue. I don't know if it's in someone's back garden. I don't know. But all I know is, what I'm going to do on the night and the fight. But I've not heard any different, changes to the venue or anything like that. And who knows, if we're looking to fight in August, then there maybe might ease a few more of these lockdown measures, and you might have a couple of fans or a certain amount of numbers in the venue. So who knows? But nothing's been said differently to myself in regards to the venue, and we'll see. We'll have to just wait and see what happens, which venue, where it be.
I mean, how do you think you cope, and what do you think your thoughts would be on having a fight behind closed doors without your family and friends potentially not being able to see you there to possibly lift the British title?
Of course, for me, family and friends being there in that kind of moment is a big thing. Of course, I'd like to, when I win this bout and that, I'd like all my victories. You like to kind of console themselves, share victory with them. But it's fine. I know they'll be watching. I know they'll be cheering on, and I just know what I'm doing. In mind, like I say, every time I step in that ring for my little girl, and whether fans are there or not, that my mindset stays the same, and I've got to go out there and deliver and do the job, and that's what I will do, whether it's going to be fans there or not. It's one of those things. I'm sure Chad ain't been through it in his career of kickboxing or boxing either. Many boxers hasn't, but we just have to get on with it. Boxing's that kind of sport. You just got to get on with it. You can't dwell on things you can't control. Just dwell on the things what I can control on, and I know what I've got to do and who I'm stepping in that ring for, which is my little girl, and what I've got to do in mind. So that's the person I'll be stepping in the ring for, and that's the person who I ain't going to let down in my career or this fight. And we're going to push on from this.
Provided everything went to plan against Chad and you were successful, you picked up that British title, is the Craig Richards fight still something you'd be interested in? Because I remember back when you was negotiating, you said you'd become a little frustrated. You felt like it kind of messed you about a bit because of how the negotiations had gone. Is it kind of like a frustration there that you want to take out with Craig in the ring?
No, for me, it's nothing personal at the end of the day. it's a sport. Boxing's a sport, which I take seriously, because at the end of the day, like, a lot of people are losing their lives in this sport. But I'm not going to hold my career up on, for Craig. I mean, he's got the mandatory option, so when I win this British, he has got the mandatory option to have that defense. I'm not going to go another year or 2 years for him and his team to either plan other routes, want to go the WBA route or whatever other route he wants to do. I'm not holding my career up for him. If he wants to get it, then he can get it straight after Chad. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm not going to hold my career up on any boxer or any fighter. I always focus on myself, and that's the main goal, always focusing on myself. But as I said, he's the mandatory, he's in the mandatory position, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. For me, it would have happened ages ago from my side, but it's what it is. Things happen.
Shakan, before I do let you go, I just want to get your thoughts on a few other fights in your division and in the boxing world. Joshua Buatsi, someone who you've sparred, somebody you'll know very well. Some talk about a potential fight between himself and Callum Johnson. What are your thoughts if Ben Paire were to meet in the ring in the near future?
Be a good fight. I mean, I rate both of them as fighters. Wax is very talented. Obviously, from sharing the ring, I've not come across Callum Johnson or anything, and I've got nothing against him. He's in a fantastic gym and so on. But I think that fight, I'd probably more root for Buatsi. Obviously, me and him developing each other in sparring and so on. And I like the guy. He's a cool guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's always respectful, and I think he will go far in the sport and division. But it'd be a tough fight. It's not going to be any kind of walkover. Callum Johnson's a very good fighter. He can hit. Obviously, Watts can hit as well, and it'd be a good fight. It'd be one that I'll be looking forward to. To seeing on the outcome of that. But obviously, I wish them both the best with that fight. I'm not really, sitting on there feeling like, I don't want Callum to win or anything. Obviously, that's between them. But I would say that I would be rooting more for Buatsi, just for the fact that, the work that we put in together and how much I appreciate it. And him as a person is cool. So we'll see what happens to that fight.
And another fight which had been agreed and was once again, it was postponed because of the current situation and lockdown, was Anthony Yarde versus Yarde-Arthur. Again, Shakan, just what are your thoughts on it?
Again, man, both good fighters. Lyndon's a really talented fighter. Obviously, Yarde very talented as well. We've seen Yarde obviously step up, and and for me, he made a good account of himself against Kovalev. A lot of people forget who Kovalev's been in the ring with, and obviously it was a big jump for Anthony Yarde. And I believe he managed himself well. You know what I mean? He done what he could do, and Kovalev's he's a world class fighter. Yarde-Arthur, obviously, he's done good in the amateur ranks and so on. He's doing good as a pro now. He's proven that he's got power. Obviously, Yarde's his biggest fight to date. So Yarde's been in that occasion. Arthur hasn't been in that occasion yet. He's obviously fought good people around the amateur scene and so on. But it's a step up for him. But I think that, man, that one's a close fight. I wouldn't want to say, this person, that person, because it's a very close fight. Lyndon can hit, Yarde can hit. I think it's who's going to bring, put into practice their strengths on the day, and who's going to have that heart in it, that will to want to win like that. Because I think it will, no matter what. I don't see it going the distance, but I don't see it ending earlier. I could be wrong, but I don't see it ending earlier. I don't think it will go the distance either. They're both strong fighters, come forward fighters. So I look forward to watching that one again as well.
And somebody you know well, Dean Whyte, his brother Dillian has been spoken about for a potential cross-sport clash with Francis Ngannou of the UFC. What are your thoughts if we were to see Dillian fighting either the cage or the ring against Francis Ngannou?
Is it? They've been talking about that, have they?
Been some talks going on there, yeah.
I don't know if he's going to want to go do that. Is he, like, with so much at stake in his boxing career at the moment? But I don't know. As I say, Dillian Whyte's come from a kickboxing background, and so he's kind of obviously knows how to use his feet and so on. I think using the elbows and whatever it may be is something he could put into practice. But I don't know. It's only he can decide if he wants to step into the UFC, a UFC fight as well. Do you know what I mean? It's different from a boxing ring. It's a lot different. So fighting a UFC fighter, it's a big task, like a UFC fighter, like McGregor trying to fight Mayweather, and he looks very amateurish, you know what I mean? But he's a world-class fighter in the cage, so who knows? It's up to him. Me personally, if it was me, I'd just stay where I'm comfortable at, where I'm good at, which is boxing. But who am I to say what Dylan Whyte should do or what anyone else should do with their careers? He believes the time's right for him to make that crossover change and then, you know, do things or do the unthinkable. I've not heard of any a boxing fighter beating a UFC fighter in the cage. I've not heard of it unless, you know, that's happened way before my time. I don't know, but if he wants to try and do that and make history, that's, you know, good on him. Then I'll be rooting for him. But I'd stay where I know I'm good at, and what I'm not saying he ain't good at there, but I'd stay where I know I'm comfortable at, which is boxing.
Shakan, final thing. There's been not some talks, but we've seen the likes of Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, you know, getting back in the gym, talk about coming back. What are your thoughts if we do see them in the ring once again?
I don't think they should come back. I think, you know what it is, and this is why, like, I drum in the importance and why myself as a fighter, I give my all right now in my career, and all boxers, amateur, professional, should give the all in their career. I'm not saying them guys have not had, you know, they've created powerful legacies in the sport of boxing, but I think they probably feel like they've got more to offer or could have done more watching these younger guys fight, and now it's giving them the inkling to want to come back. I don't agree with it. I think he's not that he's past it, but you've had your moment. You've done what you had to do. You don't want to get in there with these young, hungry fighters, young, hungry heavyweights, and cause yourself any more damage. Like, I've seen, like, obviously anyone can look good for 10 seconds on an Instagram video. Mike Tyson looked really good, like, and I'm not saying if he was to land on any heavyweight, he wouldn't hurt them, because he's still surely got the explosive power. But has he got the duration to do that for 12 rounds? I don't think so. But he could obviously prove anyone else wrong and probably do that. But I don't think he should. You know, he's already fought. They've created a good legacy. Leave it as that. And I respect the likes of, I think Joshua came out with that. He wouldn't even fight him. He wouldn't entertain it. Wouldn't entertain fighting like Mike Tyson or anything. And I think many people probably shouldn't. Would you want to be responsible for hitting a legend so hard you've caused him any kind of brain damage or anything? Someone you used to look up to, and then you've hurt them in a way where, you know, you've caused them that damage. And now I don't agree with it. I don't think they should. And if they do allow them, any of the boxing governments or anything there, the boxing bodies, sorry, to allow them to have a license, then you're going to get the likes of loads of other people trying to do that. I'm sure that they stopped Shannon Briggs after his first fight or so on for even, you know, doing that, or there was some difficulties there. So I don't think they should do it. They've already made their legacy. Just leave it as that.
Shakan, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Before I let you go, what would you like to say to everyone who tunes in to watch our interview?
What I'd like to say?
Yeah.
Just like, you know, just keep positive on the pandemic, these times, stay safe. Any fighters out there, obviously keep positive, keep training over. Don't, you know, let your goals or dreams slip. And to the fans as well, that the fight, you know, anyone who's supporting myself, I want to thank them. And anyone who's supporting boxing, I want to thank them as well. I think, you know, it shows how much in this time, it's going to show a lot towards ourselves, the fighters stepping in the ring without the fans, how important and valuable they are there, because they create the atmosphere, they create the buzz on boxing. These guys spend their hard-earned money on tickets and obviously pay-per-view and so on. So we are going to obviously feel the detriment or effect of fans not being there. So obviously I just want to thank the fans and everyone who's involved with, you know, adding to the sport, and obviously just carry on following my journey if you can.
Shakan, that's brilliantly put, and it's been a pleasure to catch up with you once again. I'll hopefully see you soon in person to be able to do an interview, but until then, stay safe, and thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
And yourself, man. Stay safe.